All right, let's go. This is a small claims matter. Plaintiff is suing the defendant for $4,950. That's your cap, I understand. You claim this money is for the value of inventory taken without your permission. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is exactly it. I had a small business selling custom and vintage-inspired dresses, mostly online and at pop-up markets. The defendant, Mr. Cole, was my business partner. And after I ended our professional relationship, he essentially cleaned out our shared storage unit. He took all of the finished pieces that were mine.
That's not what happened at all, ma'am. We were partners. We dissolved the partnership. I took my share of the assets. The dresses she's talking about were made from fabric and patterns we bought together. They were partnership property, not hers individually.
Partners. You were partners in what? A formal LLC, a corporation? Did you file taxes together?
No, ma'am. It was more of a handshake deal. We had a name, Rivera & Cole Designs, but we never officially incorporated. We just shared expenses, shared a workspace, and split the profits from the markets.
It was my designs, ma'am. I was the one with the sewing experience. I went to fashion school. He came in with some money to invest, and I thought it would be a good way to scale up. I was the creative side. He handled the business side, the social media, the marketing.
So he was the money, you were the talent. And then you decided you didn't want to be partners anymore. Why? What happened?
There was a personal complication, ma'am. Marcus and I were friends before the business, and during the partnership, he made it clear he wanted to be more than friends. I told him I wasn't interested in a romantic relationship. After I turned him down, things got tense. He started being critical of my work, showing up late, and then I found out he was trying to open his own separate online store using the same designs.
That is a complete mischaracterization. I was the one doing all the work while she was just being a perfectionist, spending weeks on one dress that we couldn't sell at a profit. I was trying to expand the business to make money. She was treating it like an art project. And the personal thing, I asked her out once, she said no, and I dropped it. That's not why the business failed.
But the business did fail, or at least the partnership dissolved. What was the date you told him you were ending the business relationship? I want a specific date.
It was March 15th of last year. I sent him a text message after I saw the listings for his own store. I said I couldn't work with him anymore, that I wanted to split up our shared assets and go our separate ways.
All right. And what happened on that day, Mr. Cole? Did you agree to split things up?
I told her we needed to talk about it. I said we had a lot of money tied up in inventory and materials and we couldn't just walk away. I wanted to come up with a plan to liquidate everything and split the proceeds. She was being unreasonable, just shutting down communication.
I was willing to split things fairly, ma'am. I just wanted to take my designs and the finished pieces I had made with my own hands. He had put in about $3,000 for fabric and booth fees. I had put in about $2,000 for other supplies. I was willing to pay him back his initial investment in installments, or sell the shared equipment and split that.
So you were trying to buy him out. What did he say to that?
He said no. He said he wanted his money immediately, or he was going to take what he was owed. And then, just a few days later, on March 18th, I went to our shared storage unit, the one we rented for all the finished garments and supplies, and the lock was changed.
I changed the lock because the unit was in my name. I was securing our assets until we could settle the debt. She had stopped communicating, and I was worried she was going to go in there and take everything, leaving me with nothing.
So you changed the lock on March 18th. What happened next?
I called the storage facility, and they said the account was in his name only, so there was nothing they could do. I texted him, I called him, I asked him to let me get my personal things, my sewing machines, the dresses I was working on. He ignored me for 2 weeks.
2 weeks? What were you doing during those 2 weeks? Did you file a police report? Did you get a lawyer?
I went to the police, ma'am. They said it was a civil matter because we were business partners and he had a key. They wouldn't get involved. I couldn't afford a lawyer. I was trying to just move on and start over. But then I saw him at a pop-up market at the end of March. He was selling my dresses.
Your dresses? He was selling your designs, the ones you made?
Yes, ma'am. He had a booth set up, and hanging right there were the dresses I had spent months making. A floral print sundress with hand-sewn beading on the bodice, a navy blue satin cocktail dress, and a few of my signature wrap dresses. I recognized every single one.
Mr. Cole, you were selling dresses at a pop-up market at the end of March. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. I was trying to liquidate the inventory to get my money back. I had invested over $3,000. The partnership was over and I needed to recoup my losses. I sold a few pieces.
But Ms. Rivera claims those dresses were hers. She made them with her own hands. How do you respond to that?
She made them, yes, but using materials I paid for. The fabric, the thread, the patterns, that all came out of the joint account. It was a partnership. The finished goods were partnership assets. I was entitled to my share.
Joint account? You had a joint bank account for the business?
No, ma'am. We did not have a joint account. We would just track expenses in a notebook. He would buy fabric, I would buy a sewing machine part, and we'd try to split it. It was very informal.
So it wasn't a joint account. It was a joint fantasy. You, Mr. Cole, you say you paid for the materials for these dresses. Do you have receipts?
I have some. Most of them were in my email. I can show you a few from a fabric store that total around $1,200.
A few? For a claim of nearly $5,000, you have a few receipts. Let me see them. Ms. Rivera, do you have any receipts for what you contributed?
Yes, ma'am. I have receipts for the sewing machine, which was mine before the partnership, for the specialized tools, and for some of the fabric I purchased myself when I found specific pieces I wanted. I brought a folder with all of them, separated by date.
Hand them up. Let's see what we have here. Mr. Cole, you're handing me 3 emails from a fabric warehouse. One for $450, one for $380, and one for $300. That's $130. You're suing for $4,950. Where does the rest come from?
The rest is for my time, ma'am, and the marketing costs. I ran all the social media. I set up the booth at the markets. I valued my time, and also I lost money on the booth fees that I paid for in advance that she was supposed to split.
Your time. You're going to sue someone for your time in a handshake partnership? That's not how it works. You're not an employee. You were a partner. You don't get to bill your former partner for your time. That's absurd. What about the booth fees? Did you pay for future markets?
I had paid for 3 markets in April and May. After she quit, I couldn't get refunds. That's about $800.
And did you attend those markets?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I tried to sell the remaining inventory.
So you did get to use the booth fees. You attended the markets. You sold the inventory. So you're trying to claim the cost of the booth fees as a loss, even though you used them? That's double dipping.
Well, no, ma'am, because I didn't make back my money. I sold some dresses, but not enough to cover my total investment.
All right, let's get to the heart of this. Ms. Rivera, you say you went to the police. They did nothing. You saw him selling your dresses. What did you do then?
I confronted him at the market. I told him he had no right to sell my work. I was crying, ma'am. I was humiliated. He had a customer there, a woman trying on one of my wrap dresses. He just told me to leave before he called security.
Mr. Cole, is that true? You were selling her designs in front of her?
It was a public market. She showed up and started causing a scene. I was trying to conduct business. The dress she was pointing at was one I had paid for the materials for. It was half mine.
How do you determine half of a dress, Mr. Cole? You take one sleeve, you cut it down the middle. That's not an asset that can be split in kind. You needed to sell them and split the cash. You didn't do that.
She walked away from the partnership. She left me with all the debt and no way to get my money back. What was I supposed to do? Just let her take everything I paid for?
You were supposed to act like an adult and liquidate the assets in an agreed-upon manner. You didn't have that right to just take everything because you felt you were owed. You changed the lock. You took possession of all the property and you sold it. Now, Ms. Rivera, you're asking for $49.50. What is that number? How did you arrive at it?
I made a list, ma'am. There were 12 finished dresses in that storage unit. I had priced them for sale between $350 and $500 each, depending on the complexity. I estimated their value at the average retail price. The total came to $4,950.
Retail value, not what they cost to make, what you would have sold them for, and what did Mr. Cole sell them for?
I don't know for sure, ma'am. I saw one with a $200 price tag. He was selling them at a discount, probably just to get rid of them fast. He destroyed the value of my work.
Mr. Cole, what did you sell the dresses for? How much money did you make from these pieces?
I sold maybe 7 or 8 of them. I made around $800. I used that to pay for the booth fees and some of the outstanding fabric bills.
So you sold them for $800, but Ms. Rivera claims their retail value was nearly $5,000. You see the problem here, don't you? She's suing for what she lost, which is her inventory. You're claiming you were just trying to get your investment back. Neither one of you has a clear idea of what these assets were worth.
Ma'am, it's not just the money. He took my designs, my reputation. I had people asking me why I was selling at his booth. It looked like I was associated with him, or that I had sold my work to him. It was humiliating.
I understand it's humiliating, but I deal in facts and damages, not humiliation. Let's talk about the timeline again. You sent the breakup text on March 15th. He changed the lock on the 18th. When did you first file this lawsuit?
I filed it in late April, ma'am. After I saw him at the second market, I knew he wasn't going to stop.
So in the time between March 18th and the end of April, you didn't try to get a court order? You didn't do anything legally to stop him from selling?
I spoke to a legal aid clinic, ma'am. They said it would take time to get a hearing for a temporary restraining order. By the time that happened, he would have sold everything anyway. I felt powerless.
Mr. Cole, you said Ms. Rivera stopped communicating. Show me where she stopped. I want to see your text messages.
I have them on my phone. It's a long thread, but here.
Hand it to the marshal. I want to see it. While we're waiting for that, Ms. Rivera, you brought a folder. Do you have anything else in there besides receipts?
Yes, ma'am. I brought photos of the dresses in the storage unit. I took them a few days before I ended the partnership, when I was inventorying for a market. You can see them all hanging there. And I have screenshots of our text conversation.
Let me see the photos first. All right. I see a row of dresses. They look handmade. They're on hangers with plastic covering them. This is in a storage unit. You have a date stamp on this photo?
Yes, ma'am. The metadata shows it was taken on March 12th.
All right. Now the marshal has Mr. Cole's phone. Let's look at these texts, starting on March 15th. Ms. Rivera writes, "This isn't working. I'm done. I want to split the inventory. Let me know when we can meet." Mr. Cole responds, "You can't just quit. We have money tied up. We need to figure this out." Then Ms. Rivera writes, "I'll pay you back your investment over time. I just want my dresses." Mr. Cole, "No, you want to walk away? You walk away with nothing. I'm keeping everything until I get my money." Ms. Rivera, "That's theft. I'm going to the police." Mr. Cole, "Go ahead. They'll tell you it's a civil matter. I'm not stupid." Mr. Cole, "Is this your conversation?"
Yes, ma'am.
"I'm keeping everything until I get my money." That's what you wrote. You admit that.
Yes, ma'am. I was angry, but she was abandoning the business. I had to protect my investment.
Protecting your investment is one thing. Holding someone else's property hostage is another. These dresses, according to her photos, existed before you changed the lock. You admit you took them. You admit you sold them. You never gave her a cent from those sales.
I applied the money to the debt she owed me for the fabric and the booth fees.
What debt? You didn't have a contract. You had a disorganized, failing partnership. You didn't have the right to unilaterally decide what she owes you, take all her property, sell it, and apply the proceeds to a debt you made up in your head.
Thank you, ma'am. He just took over everything. He even took my grandmother's sewing scissors. They were in a toolbox in the unit. I asked for them back in the texts, and he ignored me.
He took your grandmother's sewing scissors?
I didn't take them. They might have been in a box of supplies I sold at a garage sale. I don't know. I was just trying to clear out the unit.
You sold her grandmother's sewing scissors at a garage sale? Do you hear yourself? This isn't about business anymore. This is about revenge. She wouldn't go out with you, so you decided to punish her. You took her livelihood, her work, her family heirlooms.
That's not true, ma'am. I was just trying to get my money back.
You know what? I want to bring in a witness. Ms. Rivera, you said you have a witness. Who is it?
Yes, ma'am. My sister, Sophia. She was with me at the second pop-up market. She saw Marcus selling my dresses and heard what he said to me.
All right, Ms. Sophia Rivera, please come forward. Raise your right hand.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand you're under oath. What did you see at this market?
Yes, ma'am. I went with Amanda to the market to support her. She was going to try to talk to him one last time. When we got there, I saw Mr. Cole at his booth. Hanging up were Amanda's dresses, the ones she'd spent months on. The floral one with the beading. I helped her pick out that fabric. There was no mistaking them.
And what happened when your sister approached him?
She walked up to him and said, "Marcus, please, just give me my dresses back. I'll work out a payment plan for what you spent." He looked right at her, very cold, and said, "You should have thought about that before you led me on." Amanda started to cry, and he told her to get away from his booth or he would have her removed.
You should have thought about that before you led me on. Is that what he said?
Word for word, ma'am. I was standing right there. Then he turned to a customer who was looking at a dress and said, "Don't worry about her. She's just an ex who can't let go."
Mr. Cole, did you say that to Ms. Rivera?
I don't remember saying that exactly. I was under a lot of pressure. She was causing a scene. I might have said something like that, but it wasn't the reason I kept the dresses.
So you admit you said something to the effect that she led you on. So this is about a personal relationship. It's about you being rejected. You disguised it as a business dispute. You took her property to punish her for not wanting to be your girlfriend.
No, ma'am, I was trying to get my money back. The personal stuff, it was separate. It just made it harder to work together.
Separate? You took her grandmother's scissors. You sold her hand-sewn dresses at a discount to hurt her. You told a customer she was a crazy ex. This isn't a business dispute. This is a man who couldn't take no for an answer, and he used a business partnership as a weapon. I've seen it 100 times.
I just wanted to walk away with my work. I offered to pay him back. He didn't want the money. He wanted to hurt me.
You're right. He didn't want the money. He wanted control. He wanted to make you pay for the rejection. Mr. Cole, you don't get to do that. You do not get to hold a woman's business and property hostage because she won't date you.
But I had money invested. She can't just walk away from that.
She offered to pay you back. She offered to work out a plan. You refused. You changed the locks. You took everything. You sold it. You didn't even give her the chance to buy you out. You wanted a fight and you got one. Now you're going to lose it.
But the dresses were made from fabric I bought. I had a right to.
You had a right to be made whole for your contribution. You did not have the right to convert her entire inventory and sell it without her consent. The law does not work that way. If you thought she owed you money, you should have sued her. You don't get to be the judge, jury, and executioner. You don't get to take the law into your own hands.
I was just trying to get my investment back.
No, you were trying to get revenge, and you're going to pay for it. Ms. Rivera, you said you had a list of the dresses. How many did you say were in the storage unit when he changed the lock?
12 finished, ready-to-wear dresses, ma'am, plus materials and works in progress. But I'm only suing for the 12 finished ones.
You're suing for their retail value, but you didn't sell them. They weren't sold at retail. Mr. Cole sold them at a fraction of that. So I'm not going to give you retail value. I'm going to give you the value of what you lost, which is the property itself. You made these dresses. You had a cost for the materials and your labor.
I understand, ma'am. The materials for each dress cost me between $50 and $100. But my time...
Your time is your time. In a partnership, you don't get to bill each other for time. But he took your property. The value of that property is what it would cost to replace it, to buy the fabric, the thread, the buttons, the patterns again. You have the receipts for the materials?
Yes, ma'am, in the folder.
All right. I'm looking at them. You have receipts for fabric that total about $800. You have receipts for notions, thread, buttons that total about $200. That's $1,000. You also have a receipt for a dress form and some tools that you bought, but those weren't taken, were they?
No, ma'am, I had those at home. He only took the finished dresses and the supplies that were in the storage unit.
So the material cost for the dresses he took was around $1,000. That's what you're out of pocket for the goods he converted. That is a clear loss.
But I paid for some of that fabric. Some of those receipts are mine.
Mr. Cole, you showed me 3 receipts from a fabric warehouse that total $130. But those receipts are for bulk fabric, not specific to these dresses. Ms. Rivera has receipts for specific prints and silks that match the dresses in her photos. I'm looking at a photo of a navy blue satin cocktail dress. She has a receipt for navy blue silk satin from a different fabric store, purchased on a date before the photo. Her name is on the receipt. That's her fabric.
I was buying supplies for the business. It was all supposed to be shared.
It was a mess, there's no question. Neither one of you ran this like a business. You're both young, you made a mistake, you trusted each other, and it blew up. But one of you took the law into their own hands and stole property. Ms. Rivera, I'm awarding you the cost of the materials that you can prove you purchased for the dresses that were taken. I'm not giving you retail value. I'm not giving you your time. I'm giving you the money it would cost you to replace the fabric and notions.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm also going to add something for the loss of the finished goods themselves, because you had a marketable product. It wasn't just fabric. It was your labor and skill that turned that fabric into a dress. Mr. Cole, you profited from that. You sold her labor, you sold her skill, and you did it without her permission. So I'm awarding an additional amount for the conversion of the finished goods.
But I had money in it too. This isn't fair.
What's not fair is you using a business relationship to get back at a woman who wouldn't sleep with you. What's not fair is you taking her property and selling it. What's not fair is you standing here today and pretending this was about money. It was about your ego, and you're going to pay for that. Ms. Rivera, you're suing for $4,950. I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you the material costs. You can prove $200. Plus, I'm adding $2,500 for the conversion of your finished work, the value of your labor and skill that he stole and sold. That's a total of $3,700. I'm also going to add back the cost of the grandmother's scissors because that's just petty and mean. You said they were worth $50. I'll add that. Total judgment for the plaintiff, Amanda Rivera, in the amount of $3,150.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Cole, you need to understand something. You don't get to steal from people just because you think they owe you money. That's not how it works. If you have a claim, you go to court. You don't go to the storage unit and take the law into your own hands. Case dismissed. You're done. Get out of my courtroom.
This is ridiculous. She's the one who...
I said get out now. You can collect your judgment at the clerk's office. Next case.